Welcome back to Awakening TV. I'm heart expert and the author of the book, Awakening to Your Story. Today we're going to talk about sabotaging love. I want you to know that people who feel like they sabotage the love in their life, you're not alone. All of us in some way or form in our stories have probably picked up this little habit that is associated with a limiting belief. Now, let's get to the topic at hand and the question that brought us to this point today. The question starts like this. I want to find my partner, the love relationship of my life. The only problem is that every time I get close to it, I mess it up. I know it has something to do with my past and my relationship with my parents, but when it comes close, I just can't let the love in. What do I do to stop sabotaging love? Okay, now, in the Awakening to Your Story process, there are so many steps that you can take, so many ways of looking at how life is there to support you and get you into those places where you can be completely and utterly embodying those dreams. And that includes having that great love relationship. Now today, for the practical purposes of this video, we're going to talk about some kind of down and dirty ways to switch your perception around or put your mind into a place of consciousness. But if you want to get kind of more in depth in understanding that information in your story, you can always pick up the book, Awakening to Your Story, at Amazon.com, or you can go to some of the other episodes that we've had in this past season. Episode 13, What to Do When You Want to Get Off the Dating Treadmill, and episode 15, What to Do When the World Feels Like It's Out to Get You. Both of those episodes really break down how the heart works and how law of attraction brings things into your space so that you can create healing and move beyond limitation. But today, we're going to talk about some really easy ways to step right into the conscious awareness of what's going on so that you can create healing within your story. So, our first heart actionable is find the limiting belief that is masquerading as truth. So there are so many ways that you can find your limiting beliefs, but the easiest and most effective way is to figure out your vocabulary. What are the things that you are saying to yourself constantly? Sometimes the things that we say to ourselves are second nature, and so you really have to pay attention to those places of reaction so that you can really narrow down that language, right? So I've created a list of some of the very typical vocabulary and phrases that come up when dealing with sabotaging love, the clients that I've had or I've experienced in my life. Let's take a look at those so that we can really start to understand how to find that limiting belief, right? So if you're feeling like the person who wrote in, like love can't really come close to you and that every time it does, you sabotage it or it only can come in so far, right? Your language, the things that you might be saying in your head may sound something like this. Love can only come so close to me, right? When you have that, it can only come so close, it can only come so close. If you pay attention to that language and you boil it down, what is that language trying to say? And in a lot of respects, it's saying that you are separate from love, right? So you could also have the voice in your head that says, I'm not allowed to have love. I have never had love completely, and so I know I can't have it now. Boil it down, right? Spend some time with it, figure out what it's really trying to say, and it might still even at this point say that you're separated from love or that you're afraid that you can't have it, right? Now, love has hurt me in the past and I'm afraid to let it hurt me again. This is one that happens a lot for people. Now, when you boil that down, a lot of times it ends up coming to, I must protect myself from love, which leads us to always keeping love at arm's distance, right? So it's interesting when we step into kind of a conscious awareness of what's going on in our life and we really narrow down the vocabulary, right? So that we can utilize it. Another one is that I have to work for love, right? I have to work to really be able to feel worthy of that love, which when you boil it down, it's that you're not worthy of love. If you have to work for it, that means it's not inherent to you. So pay attention and find the limiting belief that is masquerading as your truth. Because when you hold these up, they really do feel true because you've gone through it in your past, right? You've lived it. And so it has become that limiting belief, but it is not your truth. So once you know your truth, your limiting belief, that first heart actionable, it takes us to the second heart actionable. Find your truth. And sometimes it's hard to find your truth if you don't know what the limiting belief is. And the limiting belief is where your energy is. So start there and then pull back in to the truth, right? Deepen into the truth. Now, remember, as you're trying to do this, it's important to be patient because things don't always happen right on time in your own schedule, right? You may see this path towards love and you may want it and you may go, okay, I know my limiting belief is that I have to work for love. And okay, my truth, I'm not quite sure what my truth is, but I want it. I want that, and I want it now. You have to be able to step in, create ownership for your truth. Know that more than you know the pain of the limiting belief so that you can call it in. So just be patient as you're doing this and as you're working, right? Now, as we start to look at these limiting belief versus truths, let's kind of go through the examples that we used before and find what the truth is behind those limiting beliefs. So love can only come so close, and that I'm separated from love. It's coming in partially. Well, the truth is that before the limitation was there, you were completely connected to love, and the love that you wanted to receive was all right there, right? So it can only come so close? Well, no, it's in me. It is part of me, right? Now, when I'm not allowed to have love, let's go kind of deeper. I never had love, and so I can't have it now. You boil it down farther and you're separated from love. Well, the truth before the limitation, right, was that you came from love, that it is your lineage and your legacy, and it is essential to who you are. So if you had it once, you can always return to it. And so if you boil it down, you are love, right? And that is the truth. I am love. And so as you step in from the limiting belief into the truth, you kind of start to go, oh, this is a little foreign to me, but it resonates. And if I want to have the dream, if I want to embody that dream, I've got to be able to embody the truth, right? So let's go to a couple more examples. Love has hurt me in the past, and I'm afraid that it's going to hurt me again. I must protect myself from love. Well, the truth before the limitation was my version of love is powerful, right? It's respectful, it's complete, and it's unconditional. That's the truth about love. Love isn't something that hurts you or twists or turns on you. It is unconditional and it is powerful, right? So as you boil those things down, you've got to find what resonates with your version of truth and that limiting belief. Okay, our last example, I have to work for love. I am not worthy of love. The truth before the limitation is I come from love. I am love. I don't have to work for that which I am. I am connected and cannot be separated from love, right? As you dig down deep and step into that place of knowing, then it can truly be what manifests itself in front of you. Right? It's amazing. So it's a process. Stay focused, but dig into that truth. And the third heart actionable is repattern your truth. Now, listen, you have to know your truth more intimately and more strongly than you know your limiting belief. And you may have decades of stepping in and living as your limiting belief is your full reality. it's your turn to step up and step in and create ownership for that new truth. Whatever the language is around it, you have to own it. And you have to repattern your thinking. Now, I talk about this a lot, and actually I feel like in almost every episode of this season, we've talked about the Pina Colada beach versus the jellyfish beach. And I'm gonna go over it again real quickly. When you're repatterning your thinking, it's like you're standing on a precipice. It's like you're standing on the dunes going down into the water, and there's grass that has grown over the sand. And your limiting belief is a path that you've kind of beaten down into the sand and the grass, and it leads you to a beach that's filled with jellyfish. And there's tons of kelp and sharks in the water, and there's no shade, and you get sunburned. It's terrible. It leads you down a path that in the end has you separated from love, has you separated from the things that you want, right? Now, the Pina Colada beach is the beach that you've just found as you've stepped in to create ownership for your truth, right? Now, that is the beach that has the Chase Lounge and the palm trees, and the water is clear and the fish are swimming around you, sand castles, and it's amazing. But to get to that Pina Colada beach, you must run down a path in your mind of thinking that says, yes, I am connected to love. I am love. Love is unconditional, right? And if you're at a place where you've been sabotaging love, there's a good chance that you've walked down that jellyfish beach path a lot. And you've only just recently started to walk down the Pina Colada beach path, right? So your job is to understand that everything in your life is an exercise designed to help you make choices to repattern your belief system, right? So don't worry if you're pushing out love, or you feel like you're sabotaging love, or you get into arguments about love. Those are exercises. Know that the universe is in full support of where you're going and what it is you want to create in your life. Everything that comes into your life is there to help serve your higher good. And it's an exercise. You can't fail. It's not a test. You cannot fail. You can only step more further into your truth. So when you get into a situation and you feel that, eek, I am not worthy of love, right? Put it down. Recognize, I started walking down the jellyfish beach path, and I can turn around and walk back. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. Not only am I worthy of love, I am love, so I cannot be separated from love. I cannot be separated from that which I am, right? Find your language. Get intimate with the language that leads you down the path towards your truth. The more you step down that path, the stronger you're going to be, the more ownership you're going to have, and before you know it, the grass will have grown up on the other side, and you will be second naturally walking down the Pina Colada path to your truth, right? So as you step in and you feel like you're sabotaging love, recognize that your love experience is your place to grow and keep evolving, right? It's a place for you to do your work so that you can broaden your capacity of heart. Now, I know this is the down and dirty, but it will help shift your perspective and your thinking, right? So until next week, know that you are fully supported on this path towards love, and you are completely worthy of it, right? I hold that place for you. I hold that place for your dreams becoming reality. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. If you have questions or comments, you can always go to awakeningtoyourstory.com or email me at alicia@awakeningtoyourstory.com. Can't wait to see you next time. For more support, information, and inspiration, join me at awakeningtoyourstory.com.